18th versus 16th. So once you fall behind, it seems like the team doesn't know how to kind of shore up the weakness, trade on the opposite side of the map, and set up for the long game. They fall behind and are constantly making mistakes.
Well, it's felt like a battle between the junglers so far this series. It's Xiaopeng up against Meteor. And we are going to see Xiaopeng on that Jarvan once again as Meteor brings the new buffed Kindred to the Rift. We'll see if he can set his lanes up once more.
Yep, having that increased healing on the W, Lamb's Spite also dealing more damage. Oh, not more damage.
Spite doesn't deal any damage.
I totally said that wrong.
I was like, hang on a second. Yeah, increased healing from the Lamb's Respite.
Yeah.
And the passive healing as well. It has been increased. So, generally, it's more about the sustain, these buffs for the Kindred. I love these two top laners going against each other. I love the emotes.
It would be cool if Kindred ult did deal damage like a redemption. Maybe, no, that would just be too strong.
That would be real strong. Imagine if instead of saving lives, it increased deaths or something. I don't know.
Or both.
Yeah, why not both? I mean, if Kindred came out in Season 10, it would keep people alive, kill enemies,
while
also be a global
yeah.
ultimate. Yeah, it's like Galio ult. Oh dear. Well, DMO started off on the bottom side. Gonna have the full leash though, and the same can be said for Meteor. Shinmo gonna stack this wave though. I like this from BLG. Get the wave on the bot side pushing in towards you.
Yeah, very good, especially when you always have to worry about early ganks coming out from something like the Jarvan. So just pull that wave in, farm it safely nearby your tower. And we talked about the win condition for BLG is look for the long game.
Yeah. I want to kind of go a little bit more in depth and explain what he did there, because I feel like pulling minion aggro hasn't been super prevalent in the meta for a while. It used to be every game you'd see it. Stacking up the minion wave like that and then stepping into the brush means that it will stack up and the minions will focus on a singular melee minion, forcing the wave to push in towards you. Do you see Xiaopeng moving up towards the top side of the map? And actually, he wants to try and find a 3 buff here onto Meteor.
And this is great seeing DMO abuse their early pressure, but noticing that Meteor is level 3, this is going to be really aggressive, but he does have the red buff. So if Meteor does blow his cooldowns, he can come out ahead. Neither
smite available.
Ooh, just steals it.
13 HP on the red buff. He doesn't even need smite. Oh no, Meteor. That's so sad.
And just going to turn mid with Fofo so far overextended.
How are you not aware of this, Fofo? How does he not know this is coming? Forced to flash. Now there's a dive in the bottom lane as well. Gala's under the tower, but he's not. Oh, he is tanking. One more shot, he gets it. Shinmo. What happened? How did they end up under the tower?
That's what I want to know, because going to the mid lane thing, kind of unfortunate. Fofo's lane was already in that position. Nothing he can do, but DMO completely choosing to 2v2 dive this turret against a set with Jinzhou having all of his summoners up.
And now Shinmo is just going to walk into the river. Oh, fails the flash. Haymaker does nothing. Xie gets a kill. This game is messy, man.
I don't even know how to describe what happened with that bot lane play, but nice recovery from DMO by getting a kill onto the LeBlanc. And we talked about how this composition is all about the early snowball, so we're going to need to see these strong roams coming out from Xie where he can delete people like the Kaisa and the Kindred.
It was strategic from Shinmo. Oh, here we go. They just walk under. They just try and make the dive happen.
Well, of course.
Flash Cleanse is available.
I mean, they didn't get there by accident, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
The question is why? Why did they go for that? Not how did they get there. We know how they got there.
True. Very true. Well, they chose their fate. They were punished for it, or at least Gala was.
Hey, but like you said, it was to set up that next pick onto Shinmo in the river.
But Shinmo, he sacrificed himself because he knew that Meteor's stack was on the top side Scuttlecraft. He forced Xiaopeng to be on the bottom side and got the first Kindred stack.
Now we see the game just slowing down. Interesting to see if Xiaopeng will go towards the top side with the bounce back coming from Natural, so they are going to have a window where Kingen is overextended.
Natural's pulled in, actually. Kingen. I don't know if that was the right trade to make right now.
Ooh.
Uses the shield, gets a bit of sustain. Xiaopeng. Oh, the follow flash is there. The stun available, though.
Doesn't matter.
Get it anyway.
We take those.
We certainly do, my friend. Well, there's a kill for Natural in the top lane. And he's going to be happy with that because he did not have fun last game.
Yeah, great play set up by Natural there. Kingin, of course, is a lane-focused top laner, so picks up this Bramble Vest to do better into the 1v1. Of course, they also do have an AD jungler, so it being a bit better.
Oh no, Gala having to use his flash. Mounting Dread will do a good chunk of damage, but Meteor takes a massive hit from the turret there.
Yeah, with us focused on the top side, interesting to see where Mark went and why the wave was in this position, but nonetheless, Gala getting punished for it by BLG, so BLG still doing good to answer plays across the map, and as long as this game goes relatively slow, you still feel fine for BLG because look at their champions. Galio, Set, Mordekaiser, all again being kind of tanky bruisers, Kindred having the Lamb's Respite. It's going to be really hard for Xie to make picks and Natural get the burst in the late game.
So far, so good for DMO across the board, though, when you look at the gold lead. About 1,000 ahead at this stage. And a good chunk of that is going to be in the solo laners. Speaking of which, they're both going to be on the top side right now.
With
Kingin
Mark heading up.
doesn't have a flash. Mark is heading up, you're absolutely right. But Fofo rotating as the hero's entrance, and they decide that's enough to deter them. Meteor, though, he's like, do you know what? If you're going to go up to the top side, I'm going to go to the bottom side. Gets himself a dragon.
Yeah, so DMO not able to pull off that play. BLG once again coming out a bit ahead in the trade. Not necessarily coming out ahead in the long run of the game, just as long as this game extends on, BLG feel fine.
BLG happy to play it slow. And that's exactly what we've seen out of them over the course of this split. This is the start. I mean, game number 2, in case you're new to watching BLG, game number 2 was very much an anomaly for this squad. They don't usually play that fast. They don't usually kind of snowball into a victory that quickly. They like to play it slow and steady and gradually find advantages.
That's kind of like a 1-in-4 game out of BLG where we constantly, not constantly, we occasionally see these glimpses of like, whoa, this is why this team was expected to be top 4, top 5 in the league. But then, you know, the next 3-4 games will go back to being 35 minutes, coin flip team fights. I wouldn't even say this roster's as good at those late game team fights as the previous one with Kuro. So that's why we do see BLG down in 15th place.
We do in general. So far this series, though, it's been about who gets the advantage in the early game. Game 1 went very long. DMO won it in the end. Granted, it was off a miraculous late game team fight, but they had the advantage in the early game. BLG then snowball off the early game in game 2. DMO so far, they're the ones starting off on the front foot.
BLG from having the push, DMO from having the push in the bot lane will be able to make their way up towards the top lane, and we can see if they want to contest this Herald. Of course, DMO's champions are much stronger at this point in the game. They are going to have to be careful of things like the Death Realm from the Mordekaiser, and of course that ultimate coming out from Fofo.
We're able to grab the blue buff before moving over towards this Herald. Mark is heading towards the bottom side of the map, though. He's not going to rotate for the Herald just yet. Kingin misses the Death's Grasp there onto Natural. Feels like Natural is aware that something's up because Meteor is heading towards the top lane and Natural is playing very safe on this Renekton.
Yeah, but now BLG get a window to where they get to move up first.
Oh, Taunt onto Xie. Can they follow up, though? Shinmo on this set doesn't have much reach for the CC.
Yeah, now BLG are the ones who get to be on top of the Herald. Of course, Gala and Mark are in the bot lane. They don't have teleports. It's going to be a free Herald for the side of BLG.
It's kind of interesting to see DMO decide not to rotate Mark and Gala up there. They could have had the tempo advantage.
Yeah, just deciding not to. Maybe not expecting BLG to go for this play, but of course, why wouldn't you as BLG? You just got to push out the bot lane. You now get to move in mid. Xie using that distortion so aggressively, kind of giving BLG free room to punish him in mid lane, then just turn towards the Herald. And you lose nothing on the side of BLG for doing that because Mordekaiser was able to TP bot and is going to catch this wave and not let Gala continue to take plates.
He's going to get every single minion as well. How satisfying for Kingin. And importantly, Kingin keeping that CS number pretty much even for the top side of the map there. Starting off with the Bramble Vest will reduce the sustain available from Natural there. And it's going to be quite important that he's able to keep this top lane relatively even because that was what fell apart for Natural in game number 2. Kingin got a massive advantage, and Natural could just never get back into the game. Kingen not going to allow the same thing to happen back.
Kingen feels fine playing this aggressively when he does have Death Realm.
Meteor's moving into the mid lane, but Xie will be perfectly safe. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Death Realm available. Sfofo escapes in the mid lane. So if they try and make a dive onto Kingen, it's going to be rough to say the least.
And it looks like on our minimap, that is exactly what they're going for.
Meteor going to get a Kindred stack, though, in that top side. This will be... They've not clicked on him, so I don't know how many stacks he has. I think that was his second one, though, if I'm not mistaken. Mark pulled in. Kingen playing this very nicely.
It's really weird that Xiaopeng just came around, looks like just helping Gala and Mark take plates, but not feeling comfortable and going for this, trying to whittle this turret down before looking for this dive.
Here we go. They're going in onto Kingen now. The CC chain is not big enough, though, and he's onto Xiaopeng. Can't clear the minions in the meantime. Can't find... what?
I don't know how Mark got turret.
Mark wasn't even in the Death Realm.
Oh, Mark just never disengaged from the turret aggro, actually.
What was that?
I don't know.
This is meant to be the best league in the world.
This is why you don't dive a Mordekaiser, but I don't think that actually
had much nothing to do with Mordekaiser.
With Mark just making a mistake, but BLG coming out with a huge 2-turret swing off of that. So let's go, BLG. Feeling good. Scaling up to that late game.
This isn't even BLG outplaying DMO. This is DMO outplaying themselves at this point. Tier 2 in the top lane. The bottom lane tower survives. I don't know, man. What do you even say about that?
And also, another interesting thing to talk about with this game is we talk about how DMO are, crushing DMO, but they set up these champions where they really need to be proactive.
DMO are crushing DMO.
Of course. That's what you just said.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you misspoke, but actually you're right.
No, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. But when you pick something like LeBlanc, it really is about freeing her up in lane by jungle coming and help pressure, but we really never see Xiaopeng head there. But let's take a look at this again. So Mark taking turret aggro right now, does walk away, come back in, and gets it.
Oh, the dot from Titan's Wrath was still on Kingen, even though he's in the Death Realm. So he walks back in tower range, and he gets aggro again.
That's the analysis I like to hear, Munchables.
I've played Nautilus at least 3 times, and I know how his kit works, damn it. Oh, no. Mark, that's so sad. Okay, I'm going to give him a pass on that. I don't think he was factoring the dot on Titan's Wrath in, especially when Kingen's in the Death Realm.
Does he get a pass, and does DMO get a pass for even going for that dive onto Kingen, though?
No.
Exactly.
Well, that's a separate issue.
That's true.
For the mechanical play, I'll give Mark a pass on that one. Either way, BLG are going to be ahead in gold now. Starting to run away with, well, runaway is probably
Runaway's a bit of aggressive word there, sir.
700 gold ahead, and they got a Cloud Drake.
Hey, with these champions, let's say it's about like a 1,500 2K gold lead.
How do you quantify that?
Whoa, it's not about...
What are the metrics here?
There aren't metrics, but here's the metrics. You have a Kindred Kaisa set for scaling. You have a bunch of bruisers that sustain against the LeBlanc. What do you want DMO's comp to do?
Americans always avoiding metrics, using your inches, sticking to the Imperial system. I see what you're doing here. Natural has the push in the top lane. Fofo dodging a little bit of damage here. But let's just kind of take a second here, because BLG, they are going to be slightly ahead in gold. And as you rightly say, they're wanting to scale. They're not really wanting to be the ones making plays in the early stages of this game. But we are moving away from the early game now. We're heading towards the mid game. And that's when we talked about DMO start to find themselves with advantages. These fights are where they should start to be able to get some advantages for themselves.
Well, and we can just look at the map, how hard it is for them to look to make plays where if they go for something top or bot, doesn't matter if Fofo is pushed or not, he can always follow with his ultimate. And he's playing pretty defensively in the mid lane, not giving Xiaopeng many openings to follow through with. And then when it comes to these objectives and the straight 5v5 team fights, you just have, again, so much durability on the side of BLG. Even if you do delete someone like Xinjiao, you have damage coming in for Meteor. Of course, tons of damage coming out from the set and Mordekaiser as well. I feel like you're really stretched for options on the side of DMO.
Uh-oh, Gala's in trouble. Force the flash out here. Kingen flashed as well, though. Gala will survive the 1v1 for now, but Meteor is here to pick up a kill on top of it. Now straight onto the rest of the squad. Lamb's Respite available to save King, and if they need to, they did need to, but Meteor didn't go for it anyway. Now the Lamb's Respite comes through. They're trading kills, but it's 3 versus 4, and Xiaopeng the next one to fall. BLG finding these fights for themselves. Shinmo's not done. Xie has to be very careful on this one.
And I feel like this is just a product of BLG's draft being so smart, being so durable, having lots of scaling, but being very hard to punish in the early stages of the game.
Sorry, I'm not even looking at Xie right there. Kindred Mark spawned on the Krug literally as Meteor sent his final arrow to finish it off. That is so beautiful for the Kindred.
Yeah, feels great for him, and we see Xie still going at it in the Dragon Pit with Fofo.
This is the least exciting mid lane matchup, Galio versus LeBlanc. Neither of them can kill the other. Xie forced to use the distortion out here.
That's why it's so confusing, because Xie is the one following it up, right? Why are you even wasting your time and going for this play when you're not going to kill the Galio?
Let's take another look, because good effort here by Kingen.
Still, though, you're an 80 carry against the Mordekaiser. Once he procs that passive right here, I don't think it even matters if Meteor is here to take the kill. Kingen's going to come out ahead in this 1v1. We see that it doesn't save Kingen. I think it does make sense to save that ult for yourself. Mark going down. Jinzhao being able to get in the fight first with that ultimate. And we just see Xie wasn't able to get in the fight, and even if he was, we just saw that health bars on BLG weren't able to be whittled down at all.
Poor Kingen left out to dry. Apparently, according to my analyst here, it was the good strategic decision, so I'll let him off this time. But now onto the Herald. It's DMO with the advantage. They'll get the objective. Teleport channeled anyway. Kingen wants the fight here. So does the rest of BLG. They're the ones with the gold lead.
You know, that was weird because it was so late. Like, you definitely weren't going to contest a Herald, and it was at a point to where, of course, DMO would be able to disengage. And once again, BLG did this game 1-2. They could have had the faster track on Dragon if they just accepted, hey, DMO got on the map first because, of course, we killed them. They were able to get set up for this Herald. Let's just trade for the Dragon. They didn't, and now they're left in this position once again. That's
the second time this series that we've seen that, where these teams could go for the Dragon, could go for the trade. They try and commit to the Herald.
They could have committed to the Herald earlier, right? If they wanted to aggressively go for the play, it would have made sense to see Kingen start channeling that TP right away.
The conclusion is we don't care which objective you go for, just commit to something, man. Just follow through on your ideas.
Yep.
It's a metaphor for real life, ladies and gentlemen. Kingen gets a pull onto natural. And we could have a 5v5 here for this Dragon, because it doesn't look like either team is willing to give it up.
DMO using that Herald to try and get tempo to move to the Dragon first, but BLG saying, hey, we can just leave this Galio here. The charge is going to get off. It doesn't matter. Keep Kingen and Meteor zoning on the right-hand side, and it looks like DMO are just going to give this one up.
Meteor is already on 6 Kindred stacks. That's pretty huge because he gets another power spike on 7, I believe. So we'll be able to increase his range a little bit there, which, you know, Kindred is known for the late stages of the game, but a huge reason for that, similarly to Senate, it's all about stacking up that passive.
You know, I love it because this game you've really been the color, and you're just delivering so many knowledge points, right? I'm lucky to be alongside you.
Likewise, Lyric, because you're also the color. You've also been dropping the knowledge points. We've got a 6 head on the cast here. Is that how that works? Two 5 heads added together?
I don't
think. Is that 6 or is that 10? I don't know.
But game's going to slow down now. If you're BLG, you don't really need to look for any aggressive plays if you don't want to. You can just take a back seat, get more gold onto your Kai'Sa, onto your Kindred, wait for the next objective coming up, which actually will be the Baron in 20 seconds, and look to try to create aggressive picks with this Galio ultimate. Of course, he will always be able to come into the fight first.
The noise on the Cathian Rain on that skin is so satisfying. It's like someone's playing on a little electric piano.
Nothing is as satisfying in League of Legends, though, as the sound of Jax hitting a turret. So I'm glad we got that last game.
We did get to see Jax hitting turrets. He wasn't really split pushing much, though.
True.
He was more hitting
At
champions'
least,
faces.
especially not on our screen. When he was split pushing, we weren't getting to hear it.
Yeah. Which is always a sad situation. Fofo Justice punches straight into natural, and They go, they respect that neither of them is going to die here, and they both back away.
I like to so Fofo can do this, of course. It's kind of cool because you're kind of double covering each other. Fofo can always cover Jinja on the mid lane with his ult, but same likewise for Kai'Sa covering Fofo, with Shinmo and Meteor just hovering in between. And we talked about this. We want to see them setting up picks aggressively around the Baron.
Shinmo goes in. Hero's entrance available, but it doesn't get the knock-up onto anyone. Mark pulled back, and Shinmo can't get off the Haymaker. That's a huge pick. Meteor trying to trade it, though, onto Xiaopeng. Has the Lamb's Respite as he starts to wail away onto natural water play from Xie to shut down the jungler. Now onto Kingen as well, and he will be taken out. No, death throw for natural. They might just be able to get at least one for his trouble, but the slice and dice. Natural escapes. Kingen will fall here, and it's a beautiful fight for DMO.
And what is this game? We wanted to see BLG set up picks around the Baron, but setting up picks is not walking into their jungle one by one. Shinmo going down first, of course, followed by Meteor. Fofo and Jinja were not there. We're not able to dish out the damage that we need to see. And we see here, Shinmo going in so deep. Jinja not able to follow in. Fofo kind of left to the opposite side. Now Shinmo's left in way too deep. All the bursts being able to come down on the side of DMO. Now Fofo's left in a really awkward position. Meteor's still very squishy. Doesn't matter if he has the Lamb's Respite. Xie making such an aggressive distortion forward, and now it looks like maybe Kingen can find something on the opposite end of that fight, but Natural being able to slice and dice out and flash. 3 kills picked up for the side of DMO.
Yeah, really nice from Xie especially. It was distort over the wall, flash, then mimic to get all the way to the back line. And it was amusing to me on the replay. You saw right at the start, Shinmo goes in, gets the face breaker onto 2. And you can see both Meteor and Jinjiao just over the other side of the wall, kind of just moving on the spot like, I don't know about that one, Chief. I ain't going to follow you for this.
Yeah, and them looking for picks in that little choke point is fine, but they can't overcommit so aggressively. Shinmo with the showstopper, especially going so deep into DMO's jungle. Again, how do you ever expect Meteor and Jinjiao to ever be able to dish out DPS in that fight?
It's going to be hard for them, that's for sure.
It's impossible, as shown.
Literally impossible. But we'll have to wait and see, because Kingen is only going to get bigger. Fofo is only going to get bigger. These tanky tanks certainly can tank once they've got a few more items.
Also looks like that Kingen's going to go towards that Nashor's Tooth next, which is set up when you have Nashor's Tooth and the Proto Belt. Is a lot more of getting a target into the Death Realm and being able to 1v1 them a lot more easily. Of course, Nashor's Tooth going very well with your kit, the natural magic penetration and the AP you already get from your auto attacks on your passive. So gonna be nice to see if he can get Gala in that Death Realm and just take him down aggressively.
I expect that that is exactly what we're going to see. Gala has not paid the Mordekaiser's attacks just yet. No QSS for him.
Also, I said take him down aggressively. I don't know if there's really any other way to take someone down.
You haven't seen Sion versus Maokai.
I have seen Maokai versus Janna right here in the LPL.
Yes, the solo kill. But
that
again,
was actually BLG.
I would have said that was quite aggressive.
Yeah.
Janna's delicate, man. Well, we do have the two teams posturing. They kind of want to fight here, and they're going on to King and start things off. Hero's entrance onto everybody, but the knockups aren't that big, and it's going to be Shinmo the first one to fall. Jin Zhao trying to get the damage out. Xiaopeng escaping, but Meteor finishes him off. It's all turning the way of BLG right now. Natural can't get onto anyone. Mounting Dread does so much damage, and Kingen is on the back line. Xie, nowhere to run, and BLG get the ace.
And that's how these compositions trick you. At first, you're like, oh, wow, DMO do so much damage. But once that initial burst is gone, you have nothing. Everything's on cooldown. You don't really have consistent DPS from your champions. And of course, we talked about the durability coming out from BLG's kit, just cleaning that up so nicely as a team.
We talked about the tanky tanks being tanky, and that's what they're starting to be right now. Kingen doing a great job of removing Xie from the fight entirely as well, so that he couldn't get onto the back line. Then Jin Zhao Meteor just kiting everyone out.
Also, I love seeing Jin Zhao have good games because he is the long-standing veteran of this team. Going back to this fight, we actually see DMO being the ones to aggressively go in. Good engage coming out from Shinmo with the showstopper. Haymaker keeping him alive, but look at Meteor being able to dish out all this damage on the backside, and Kingen zoning off Gala and Xie taking down Mark. Xinjiao ulting in aggressively, just all this damage. Natural not able to do anything to Meteor, of course able to kite him out with that Q. And then Kingin finishing up the fight on Xie. But like I was saying, so great to see Xinjiao do well when he's been with this roster since it was AD Gaming, back in I think it was 2015 summer, then becoming Edward Esports, which qualified for the LPL, becoming IMA, then being bought out by BLG. A lot of history right there. Xinjiao experiencing all of it firsthand.
He's been a part of everything this team has gone through. And you can see his experience showing through in these fights, understanding what his role is, what he's got to achieve, and the great killer instinct onto the backline to get damage down onto Xie, force him away, and into the open arms of Kingin, who's there to finish off the kill. Now into this mid lane. Kingin going to split in the bottom side as they do have the Baron. Going to crack open these tier 2s and then on towards the inhibitors.
And with Natural split pushing in the top side, BLG are just able to keep going for free. Going to look to turn towards that mid lane, wait for Kingin to push, and then go back to mid with that wave coming.
I'm going to be looking out for, in the bottom left of your screen, the next time Kindred is selected. Check out how many marks she is on. She's going to get a power spike every 3 additional marks. So she will continue to become more and more of a menace for the side of DMO. And we were saying how the early aggression has been the name of the game here for both squads, but here in Game 3, it's absolutely not being the case. BLG with a later scaling composition, still winning out these fights.
Well, the good thing about it is it's not just about scaling into the late game. It has a lot of neutralization in the early game with the Galio, with the Mordekaiser, right? How do you attack these 2 lanes early when they can't just play safely and rely on their defensive tools to get them to the point where they can win?
And also the way that Meteor played the early game as well. You mentioned how they need to find these aggressive ways into the fights. Meteor just didn't participate. Anywhere that Xiaopeng went, he went to the opposite side of the map. Speaking of Xiaopeng, Haymaker just goes shy there. Will walk away with his life. But yeah, Meteor just mirroring Xiaopeng essentially, but an inverted mirror. He's on whatever Xiaopeng is doing, he's doing the opposite.
And we've had two great games coming out from these Soul Laners in Kingin and Fofo.
Oh, time to make the play. Teleport channeled here onto the second inhibitor tower. They're going to force their way on in. This is what we said, one of the strengths of BLG is using these Baron buffs, getting these inhibitors. Bottom inhibitor going to be achieved for them now. The Baron has run out. They got the tower in the mid lane. They're not going to be able to get the inhibitor for themselves.
BLG still just happy to back off, get those recalls, get back on the map, reset up your vision, and prepare for this next Infernal Drake, because Infernal Soul with 3 Infernal Drakes sounds pretty delicious.
With 2 AD carries, that is terrifying. Both of them have Hurricane. Look at the composition from DMO. They want to group up and fight you. Against 2 Hurricanes and Infernal Soul explosions, you cannot ever group up again.
I was going to say, if you're DMO, I don't want to group up and fight BLG's comp right now. You want to pull them apart and find those picks. Sadly, League of Legends right now, you don't have that option where you can just continuously focus these Drakes, because once it gets to the 4th one, you cannot ignore and avoid the team any longer.
Unless you want to give up the soul. We have seen that before, and I don't think DMO can afford to do that.
And an Infernal Soul. We don't see people ignore Infernal Souls.
I've seen it in my solo queue. And it ain't pretty, let me tell you. Xiaopeng, the target here is Shinmo being quite aggressive on the set. Chains of Corruption go down onto Oh, Gala with the 1v1. Shinmo now onto the AD carry, but he's totally alone. That's going to be 2 kills onto this Varus Cataclysm from Xiaopeng to keep this fight rolling. And Meteor desperately doing what he can, but he's rooted and can't do much while he's rooted. Will go down in the end. Xinjiao has to try and carry this, but I don't think he can protect Fofo. Nice flash to get away. Justice Punch as well. The 2 carries remain for BLG here. They've got a lot of damage. They maybe want to make a play. Xinjiao sticking around, but with Icon of Durand gone, that's going to be serious trouble. Xinjiao, though, the hero's entrance back off cooldown. They find one onto Natural. They're going to deny this Drake. Xiaopeng will have Smite available shortly. Meteor still not around for another 20 seconds. It's dangerous to start this without a Smite.
True, but look at the Super Minions pressuring DMO's base. They feel comfortable doing this. And that fight started off so confusing, where Shinmo was trying to go and went a bit too deep, and
There it is.
Yeah.
No contest from Xiaopeng. Infernal Soul. I can't believe they got that.
Xiaopeng can't aggressively go. If Xiaopeng goes in right there, Xiaopeng dies.
Xiaopeng is just being bullied now. That was just insult to injury. You don't get the Drake, you don't even get your red buff. Anyway, take another look at this.
Shinmo goes in way too deep, and again, we want to see BLG kind of bait out the burst from DMO, and it's surprising how much damage Gala does to Kane with the build he went, and now Shinmo was left in a really bad position. Showstopper's in, which ends up with him deleted. And, I mean, that's not how the fight ended, but still, Jinzhao coming in really big way after all of that with the pick on the natural, allowing for that Infernal Soul. Look how quickly they do this with double AD carry.
That is the strength of that WQ combo from Varus. Shinmo's going in. He's completely alone, though.
Did he not learn?
Has the stopwatch. Haymaker available. Keeps himself alive for a second there. Will fall in the end. Mark taken out by Kingen, and now onto Natural, but Xie's in the backline. Avoids the taunt. This fight's going the way of BLG, though. Gala pulled in and finished off. And the Kindred is doing wonders. Xiaopeng will fall. Fail jump from Xie. He goes down. BLG with the ace. Super's in the base. And they're going to finish this one off 2-1 to BLG in the end. Is Kingen going to push this one home?
Doesn't matter what Shinmo does, BLG coming in clutch and picking up that last team fight, especially off the performance of Jinzhao.
Amazing team fight coming out